but we're going to have it in two halves. This is largely based on the feedback we had from previous event, and as I say, the candidates participating in the second half of the event are going to be Ros Jones for Labour, Nick Fletcher for the Conservatives, and Alexander Jones for Reform. As I say, I've taken questions from the floor already, but hopefully we'll have a few more later on. What we're going to do now is start off by going along each of the candidates, and this is in no particular order in the sense of, priority. What we're going to do is start with introducing you to our mayoral candidates in alphabetical order by party. Okay? So we're just going to start along. I think we've got, are these microphones switched on now? Can I just check? That's on there. That one's on. Yep. That one's, is it on? Yeah.
Yes.
It is now, yes, and you're on there. Okay, wonderful. So, let's get this, these proceedings underway by asking Nick Fletcher from the Conservatives to start by introducing himself and saying what is his vision for Doncaster and priorities for the economy. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. It's fantastic to be here. It's a difficult time for Doncaster at this moment. We've had a decade of decline. We all know it. We all see it. We all feel it. But for some reason, nobody's wanted to tackle it. We've got a city centre that women and girls are afraid to go into. Anybody who walks into the city centre is met by beggars and filth. Shops are closing. It's not a good place. The market, which once had 250,000 people a week come to visit, is decimated. I speak to the traders on a weekly basis, and it's just a tale of woe. We've had an airport closed that could have been saved. It didn't have to close, and now we are spending huge amounts of your taxes on getting that open again. We've had a railway college that's closed. Again, huge amounts of taxes that have been spent. You'll continue to hear a lack of funding, but it's not a lack of funding. It's a lack of investment properly spent. That's what's happened. And that's why we need change. And we are desperate for it. But I know with the right candidate leading Doncaster, it can be the beacon of hope, not just for the younger generation, but for the entire country. We can have a thriving Doncaster town centre. We can have an airport open. We can have your children with a future that you want them to have. But we can only do that if we have change. And I believe I'm your change. I believe I can make Doncaster not only safe again, but great again. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. So, Nick Fletcher for the Conservatives. Now, could I ask the same Richie Valance, who's an independent? He's not here. Yes, he was the. Yeah, got it right. Okay. So, next up, can we have Doug Wright, please? Would you like to stand up? 90 seconds, please. Introduce yourself. That's okay. No, I'm totally by where you're coming from. Thank you, Doug.
Greetings. Thank you for inviting me, it's very kind of you. Firstly, I'm not an independent. I've just put that very important to you. My party, called the Health and Social Care Party, was established last December, and I'm not an independent, nor am I in the party because of the Electoral Commission rulings. As far as Doncaster is concerned, I've been here for many years now. I think the business community, in many ways, has been very helpful to Doncaster, despite all the problems that are going to be outlined here today. What I do really find passionate is young people, and I'm probably oldest here. The young people about bus fares. Buses, the crap service, that the bus service we have in Doncaster, I think it's about time you people got really down to it, and please try and do something about it. As far as businesses, I'm not a business person, you know that. I do have my sympathies with a lot of the people who are involved in it, such as sole traders, such as I understand the vast majority of people are 1 to 10 employees in full business. Now these people are losing out, they're going to lose out more and more with what's been happening today with national affairs going on. And that's wrong, it's wrong for them and wrong for you. But when this all comes to the boot, you've got to be fair to everybody. The problem is, outside Doncaster, I don't know you people in Doncaster, outside Doncaster, none of the parties involved, including the future one perhaps, do really care about the people in Doncaster as much as many people do who are here today and will be saying so. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Right, okay, moving on, because actually what we're doing here is we're getting the candidates to introduce themselves first of all, and then we're going to come back for another few questions in just a few moments. But first of all, before we get that far, let's continue going through all our candidates this morning. And I'll invite Ros Jones from the Labour Party to introduce herself.
Good morning, I'm Ros Jones. I am the Mayor of Doncaster at this moment, and I'm seeking your support to continue on, getting our great city become even greater. But when you hear people say the airport shouldn't have closed, private sector made that decision. We got behind it and we got the campaign, along with other people like Mark out there in the audience, who actually got the people. And the people of Doncaster said they want the airport open. I thought, and I will be the one that delivers that airport for the people. It's jobs, it's growth, it's the stimulation of the economy. We have 14 years of austerity. No matter what anyone's saying, this is the first year we've had a better settlement, and that's allowed us to put money in to make people feel safer in our city centre, put CCTV out there, and what I colloquially call the redcoats out there, we've doubled them. We're actually there for the people, making it a town centre where people want to be in, live, work, and actually enjoy all the different things that we will be putting on in the town centre. It's about delivery, delivery, delivery. What we've got on the cards is going to be nothing that you've seen yet. We'll have a film studio, we'll have a digital arena, all of this is coming, and of course we'll have hybrid air vehicles, unbeknown to many people, but this was something that takes off vertically and will deliver with jobs and growth for the people of Doncaster North. This is Kharkov Common. We've got unity, we've got so many things in the precipice of coming forward. Help me get it, because I am always revitalised. We know we can deliver for our people, with our people, and ensuring we listen to our people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ros Jones. Now, for the Reform UK Party, Alexander Jones, please.
Hello, everyone. Is it on?
Yeah, we can hear you, yeah.
Funny then. I'm just a local lad. I want to see real reform in Doncaster. I've watched from the sidelines for long enough now. I'm new to politics and I want to get involved and make a difference. I've watched the two legacy parties, frankly, really not make the country better at all. I've not seen any improvement in Doncaster, and I want to be the man to come in, make a difference. I want to get into the council, I want to do an audit, and I want to see everything that's gone wrong and the wasteful council spending, make it better, and make Doncaster great. Thank you.
And thank you to Alexander Jones from the Reform UK Party. Now can I ask from the Social Democratic Party, David Bettany. I hope I got that right.
Yep. First of all, I apologise for being tired because I've come on the motorbike today. Secondly, I'd just like to thank all the panel for coming up to me privately and saying, Dave, we're voting for you. It's really big here. I'm sure that happened. A bit of my background, I was born in Mexborough. I did a full army career. I finished as a warrant officer first class. The only thing I knew was the Middle East, so like Dick Whittington, I went straight out to the Middle East when I finished my military career. I got a job with the Chinese as an operation manager. That is how to learn business at the sharp end, because if you can beat the Chinese, you can beat the world. I then set up a security company, go with what you know. I did that with the Arabs. They already had a construction company, and then as a group we've set up a logistic company. We're currently building 3 hotels in Basra and a logistic park on the Kuwait border. Why have I come to this? It's the last thing I need, to be honest. You wouldn't do it for the pay because it's a pittance. Genuinely, that's not trying to be bigger. That you wouldn't attract the people for that. I do it because I love my country. I do it because I know I can make a difference. I would bring international business to Doncaster, and don't think just because the Chinese and India are dominating the world that we can't do that, because at the end of the day, when we bring factories here, we get all the natural resources from other countries, just like China and India do. They haven't got them themselves, and we pay our robots the same as we pay China, which is not. So the people then, the factories are not 5,000 like they used to be, the 500, but they're well-paid, long-term jobs for everybody. And I would look at it strategically of how we lift Doncaster up, because a rising tide will lift all boats, and even if you just sell coffee at the commercial park or whatever you do, or whether you're a big hitter in Doncaster, we need to change the landscape, because the country's broken, but we here could show them how to do it. You're not getting any money from central government this scheme. Thank you.
Thank you. And I wondered if it was actually Mark Chadwick who came in on the track of Bonneville this morning and left it in the middle of the car park. It's not yours then, Mark. No, thank you. Right. For the British Democrats, please welcome Frank Calladine.
Where do I start? Like Dave, born and bred in Mexborough, and now work for the family business in Mexborough. It's a local retail shop, and what we must not forget about is the outskirts of Doncaster, because they've been left behind for far too many years. I'm going to make it brief and go straight on to democracy. We need a choose and maze cabinet from all the available talent to ensure a balanced and unbiased perspectives. This will be transparent, and we will reduce the cabinet from 9 to 5 members. The reduction would provide Doncaster taxpayers with better value for money. After 2 years of my 4-year term, I will hold a referendum on the mayoral system. This will allow us to evaluate the system's effectiveness and make any necessary adjustments. Going back onto the city centre, the last few days I've walked through it, and it's disgusting really. You've got empty shops, you've got beggars, you've got homeless in the doorways. Something's got to happen. Doncaster needs real change. And hopefully I can work with the Chamber and other political parties and have a mixed cabinet, and hopefully we can do this change together and have a united Doncaster. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. And finally, for the Trade Unionist and the Socialist Coalition, Andy Hines.
Morning, everybody. Thank you for even letting me in the door. I'm worried whether, when you saw Trade Unionist on the list, you might want to not engage. But I've worked across Doncaster for a good number of years now as a trade union rep, and I've engaged with lots of businesses. We're not your enemy. Just let you know, we can be friends and we can be sometimes critical, but we can also be positive and work together. I am actually making a change in Doncaster. I retired as a trade unionist a couple of years ago, quite early. That gave me the opportunity to start a new organisation, Benefit Buddies. We work out of the Aston Library on a Tuesday morning, but we also work across Doncaster, helping to settle some of the problems that we've heard about. We need some positive action, so I do the PIP appeals and help people with application forms. I do work in these outer communities, and we have some fantastic, people in Doncaster. And I think I have a much more positive, I'm supposed to be the most positive socialist in Doncaster anyway, from my own party's perspective. I think I'm the most positive candidate on here. I always feel good about Doncaster, and I think we do ourselves down quite a bit. I can say that. I was born in Rotherham, actually, so, we can see that it's an uplifting place. There's a huge sense of community, particularly in all the former mining areas. Yes, there is some run-down areas. Yes, we do have some problems, but collectively, those communities come together, and they often are the answer to their own problems. The food banks that we do have are often run by those local people, and we can work together. I'm very pro-business. I'm very supportive of the airport. Our candidate out in Finley said, I can't wait for it to reopen. It's only 10 minutes walk. I used to go there to get on the plane for my holidays. So I'm going to leave it there. It is time up. I am a positive voice, and I'm always positive on an outlook and look for the answers, not just to go on about the problems that we have. Thank you very much.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is move on to the second question of this first part for each of the candidates, again starting in alphabetical order for the parties, starting off with Nick Fletcher for the Conservatives. And Nick, how will you, I know you touched on this briefly, but how will you engage with business as Mayor, and why do you specifically deserve the business vote, please, Nick?
Thank you. I've lived in Doncaster for 52 years, and I've run a business in Doncaster for 30 years. I've been a director on the board of the Chamber of Commerce. I always like to say that was the year that they won the best Chamber of Commerce in the country, by the way. Not by my own trumpet. So I've got the experience of business. I know exactly what you guys go through every single day of the week. It is very, very difficult running a business, and the challenges that we've all going to face this year with the national insurance increases and the thresholds lowering is going to be difficult. And it is. I think you need somebody who understands what you are going through. I think you need somebody who understands what it's like to employ people, what it's like to go out there and get the work, what it's like to go out there and do the work, what it's like to go out there and actually get paid for the work. And these are all the challenges that you face on a daily basis. And I've faced them with you for the last 30 years. Now, if I'm your mayor, my number one priority will be to make Doncaster a success. And I believe Doncaster can only be a success if the businesses are a success, because the businesses employ the people that make Doncaster great. I've known Dan for a long time. I know lots of people on the chamber. I will work with them, I will work with you, and we will make sure that Doncaster is not only safe again, but it is great again, and that we have an airport to bring that industry into Doncaster. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. And now, Doug Wright, please.
Give me just a second. Right, yeah, quite simple here. Well, the question is, how we engage with businesses, Mayor? Well, I believe more than anybody else in here has engaged with the business over the last 14 years or so with the council. I spent week after month over the years putting motions or asking questions at council meetings, health and care board meetings, you name it. I've been to audit meetings and so on. I've always engaged and tried to improve the lot of the people in Doncaster. I always have done and always will do, because the poor people of Doncaster are a lot more poor, as you know, than many people think. With regard to the second point, why deserve the business vote? Quite frankly, I don't think I'll get it off, because my views are slightly different, to say the least, than most people here. But at least I'm honest. I've always been honest. I've been in Doncaster since 1974. I've never lied to anybody. I've always tried to help somebody. I was the trade union branch secretary. 6,000 people in now go in unison. I've done all that kind of work before. I never give up. I never stop the people who have been ground down. You're going to be fair and honest to people. I don't think some people on this platform, or other, I'll rephrase that, some people in different platforms are honest to you. There could be one issue. My main issue is a health service, but what's more important is the attitude I take to help people, whatever form of life. Even a beggar may have been one of you people years ago, until some horrible party said, now, your bird going down the pot and become a beggar outside the street. There are people like that, and I'm sure you do know that. All I can say is, thanks for listening to me, and who's next?
Okay, and the same question. What is your vision for Doncaster? What are your priorities for the economy? And how will you engage with business as mayor? Or why do you deserve the business vote? That for Ross Jones from the Labour Party.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me. I engage with businesses day in, day out. My vision for Doncaster is a thriving place where people want to come, live, and actually sit and enjoy our city centre. We are now on the precipice of driving forward. So I also listen to the people of Doncaster. Their number one priority was open our airport. I will be the one that opens our airport, working with regional and national government. They've also said they want to feel safer. I've already put £1.5 million with redcoats, and that's not the people that you see at Butlins, actually out in our town centre, to make people feel more safe. More CCTVs. We're also actually putting more things and more activities in the town centre, deliberately to get families to come in, and we will be putting more housing in the town centre. So it's about delivery, but also growth, delivering what the people of Doncaster want. We have had 14 years of austerity, now we're moving forward, and we have some great companies. Given the chance, we will deliver those. You'll see hybrid air vehicles actually opening up in Carcox Common. You'll actually see our airport, the jewel in the crown, returning 9 to 1 once it's fully functional. You'll actually see growth coming on our waterfront. This is about delivering for the people, with the people, and therefore I ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Ross. And now for Reform UK, Alexander Jones. How will you engage with business as mayor, and why do you deserve the business vote, please?
Well, I believe we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, and I'll do my best to listen and take everyone's opinions on board. I also want to invest in the businesses of the future, so AI and things like that. I believe we've already got automated analytics here today as well, so I want to put more money into AI and the future business as well. We must move with the times or we will get left behind, and I'm very, as a young man, excuse me, bad throat. As a young man, I can very much understand and I'm on board with future business, and that's what I want to deliver for Doncaster. Thank you.
And now the same question again. How will you engage with business as mayor? To David Bettany from the Social Democratic Party.
As I said, I would look at it globally. Truthfully, we keep talking about Doncaster. We need to get money from outside in to generate it and lift everybody up. So, as I said, and if you look at the SDP's manifesto, we're about reindustrialising, and I've told you the reason. Everybody will find a reason why you can't, but I've explained just in a couple of words last time why we can and why we should, and then we're not beholden to anybody, and nobody owns us as a country, and all, as soon as they put embargoes or any geopolitics that we have, and anybody we fall out in the world, we can just stop everything, and we're at the mercy of them. If we build things here and make things here, and we can make them cheaper than the rest of the world. Like I said, with China's one-child policy, they've got no workers in about 10 years' time, and India's not ready yet through its corruption and its network to take over from China. So we could in pockets here, Doncaster, and shine a light on it. So that is my vision, to be global, genuinely. My priorities would be to sit with everybody, and you can't sit with everybody. I would hold monthly workshops, and whether you've got a coffee shop or whether you've got you want to do international trade, you could teach me something, I probably could teach you, but more so, I'll do the mentor scheme where each one teach one. I wished, even every deal I put together and every project we finish, you're like, I wish I'd have known that before I started, I wish I'd have known that. But there'll be enough experience in this room, and we can bring experience from other places, to make sure that you didn't have to pay to learn them experiences over 10 years, and you might be able to get them in one. So I really will hopefully condense your learning period, although we always learn as business people, down, and you can be far more effective. And that sort of rolls into how I would engage in all. My door would always be open. I'm only as good as you, and you're only as good as the leadership you get from me if we want to actually get up the league table as a city and really judge yourselves at the side of everybody else, just instead of just saying, aren't we doing good or aren't we doing bad? Thank you.
Thank you, David. And now for the British Democrats, Frank Callender.
Like the rest of the panel have said, we need to engage with the business community from all different kinds of businesses, small, large, medium. But the airport needs to open, but I think it's going to open anyway. It doesn't matter which one of us gets elected, whether it be Ross, me, Nick, Alexander, it will open. But we've got to just be very careful with how much it's going to cost the taxpayers. I mean, prime example, we paid, I think, was it 21 or 31 million to Sheffield Trams? So I think they should be paying a little bit back for us to reopen Doncaster Airport. Thank you.
And finally, for the Trade Union and Socialist Coalition, Andy Hiles, please.
Thank you very much. Well, as a trade unionist, I've engaged with business most of my life, and certainly for the last 14 years. As mayor, I've also, though, run my own business in the past. I was a self-employed painter and decorator, and at one time I did have a couple of employees. And in that former life, I was also vice president to York Federation of Small Businesses. As I said, you know, they represented the interests of the small businesses. You're looking at the slightly bigger businesses. It's sometimes also good to know that you can have a critical friend in the room. I'm not going to say, you know, I'm up on business or anything. I've been into so many businesses across Doncaster. And I'm always happy to offer an opinion, engaging in conversation, and highlight where things can be actually improved. You know, it is, you know, a difficult time worldwide now, and we are going into some very difficult geopolitical situations that are only going to get worse, and I'm fully aware, I'm very acutely aware of what is happening in the world geopolitically. And I've said before, previously, we have strong communities in Doncaster, and no matter what happens, we will get through. But there's also a bit of a divide between some of the workers. I've often been talking to workers, and one of the big problems we have there is that they don't feel that they are sometimes appreciated, and when they don't feel that, and this can be put right very quickly, very easily, we see that they don't, use some of their words, give a toss about the job. You know, and that doesn't give me much to go in when I talk about it. But it's also bad for business, because a demotivated workforce is not productive. And we do, in terms of Britain as a whole, need to raise our productivity. And we lag behind in some of the other countries in the world on productivity. And having a motivated workforce is one of the best ways of increasing productivity. If people feel valued, and I'm not saying that you don't value them, it is sometimes that there is that disconnect. And we have to try and bring communities, both communities, the workforces and business together, because people out on the outer lying areas who are, you know, people in the outer lying areas do sometimes feel that they are the forgotten communities. And I think if we could do some work between, you know, bringing those together, we could increase productivity, and we could all succeed from that. Thank you very much.
Right, now, what I'd like to do here is actually take a question from one of the delegates who's here today. Mark Chadwick from Stadium Garage and the Save Doncaster campaign group. I believe you had a question for the board today. And what I'd like to do is, if you could ask that question and I can put it directly to everybody, or do you want me to ask the question for you? You happy with that? Okay, Mark, no problem. So Mark is here. This is a question for everybody. We'll start off again with Nick in just a moment. Can the candidates reassure that the business community, the public and our campaign group, that they will continue the work to reopen Doncaster Sheffield Airport without delays? And additionally, do they have the necessary working relationships with the South Yorkshire Mayor, Oliver Coppard, to collaborate effectively and secure the public funds needed for a decision this summer? And Nick Fletcher from the Conservatives, I'll come to you first.
Thank you. The airport closed because of the lack of support from Doncaster Council and South Yorkshire Mayoral Combined Authority. It's as simple as that. There was offered a 20% stake in the airport. Is this on, by the way? No. Can you do?
Switch up.
Thank you.
There we are.
There was offered a 20% stake in the airport for £20 million, and the council and South Yorkshire Mayoral Combined Authority refused that. They said they would give them a loan. Apparently it was approved, the loan, at the first board, but then went to the second board, actually the South Yorkshire Mayoral Combined Authority, and it never actually even made the meeting. And our current mayor never even raised it. Why was it even in the meeting agenda? The airport closed, and that was a tragic loss. Now that was 20% for 20 million. It's now looking like it's going to cost £145 million. Now the mayor's been talking about they have an operator. They don't have an operator. They have Fly Doncaster, which is 3 directors of Doncaster Council that have set up a company to do that. And they're using Munich Airport International as a consultancy. Now, I think it's all been smoke and mirrors, this. I genuinely do believe it's been smoke and mirrors. And I think we need to get to the truth of it. There's nobody wants that airport open more than me. I think most people in this room realise how much work I put into that airport and the distance that the current mayor put between me and her and even her current councillors, which is absolutely disgraceful. Now, if I am your mayor, I will be transparent, I will make sure that people know, I will include everybody in the meetings that needs to be in the meetings. There'll be no party political agenda. And I will just say, the relationship that I believe that Ros Jones has with Oliver Coppard, relationships are meant to be give and take. And as far as I can see, all it is take from Sheffield. And because Ros is the same party as Oliver Coppard, she will not stand up for us because it means going against the party rules.
And now could I have Doug Wright, please?
Yes, well, is it on?
We're on.
Thank you. Yeah, well, my view is quite simple. Everybody wants an airport, but at what cost? And the fact is, unfortunately, the audit report recently suggested they have to look again properly this summer about the cost to Doncaster and more important, the ratepayers, as I call it. Because 105 million, I think they say they're concerned about. Now, how do we get around this? For once, I agree with the Mr. Fletcher in the fact that I don't trust the South Yorkshire Mayor either. The difference is, although I'm a candidate against Ros Jones, at least for all her faults in the nicest way, she is a decent person at heart, and she would not do this deliberately to offend anybody. But the fact is, and this is the problem which I don't know if anybody's going to do about, is that if we get in that situation where nobody, private firm, and you know better than me, are going to actually put money into it, then are we going to lose 105 million or 145 million? Let's face it, for the last 14 years, the previous government has given less, between 18 million and 100 million less to the ratepayers during the last 14 years. And it's a cost to all the people in this council, including beggars, including homeless, including health people, including SEND people. We've lost all that money, and how are we going to waste money on an airport? The answer is, I don't know, but all I do, I hope whoever gets in makes the right decision. And as for the Cabinet's concerned, well, I think the Cabinet should be fair and honest and not be led by one person in each area.
Thank you. And just let me remind you, the question, I know we've almost been veering off topic, but the question is about, will you continue the work to reopen the airport without delays, and do you have the necessary working relationships with the South Yorkshire Mayor to collaborate and secure the public funds needed for a decision this summer? I turn now to Ros Jones from Labour.
I have already said my ambition, my number one priority is to reopen that airport. I will work with Oliver Coppard. I will work with national government, because you and I all know, with people that's actually saying we want it open, listen to your people. 130,000 can't be wrong. More important, the relationship I've got will actually deliver the funding. I was on the committee that actually approved it to go forward, and it was because agreement couldn't be reached with the appeal at the time that it didn't stop up. We offered to put the money in to keep it open while we got someone else. Didn't come forward. More importantly, we will get that money, we will open that airport, it will bring jobs and growth. 5,000 jobs when it's fully functional. It'll be freight, it'll actually be people going, and it will also be the jewel in the crown economically, medium to long term. I can work with all, because I work for Doncaster, and it's Doncaster I support, and will continue to support. See, they're agreeing with me, saying, come on, Rod, get it done. More importantly, we want it done because we know it's the right thing for Doncaster, and we will continue to develop. My working relationship is not about parties, it's about making sure I actually represent Doncaster and seek to bring Doncaster to the forefront. Thank you.
And now can I invite Alexander Jones from Reform UK, please.
Well, I believe the airport should never have closed. Regarding reopening the airport, I believe I can work with anybody, regardless of party lines. I've done that for myself in business all my life growing up. So that goes for Oliver Coppard or anyone else. I don't see why that would be a problem. Excuse me. And it's clear Oliver Coppard supports the airport with £89.7 million worth of funding, and I would support that, but I believe also, firstly, we need to get into the council, cut council waste, and address the issues of how much debt the council is currently in before we make absolute commitments to that reopening the airport, as much as I would love to support it. Thank you.
And for the Social Democratic Party, David Bettany.
Hiya. Part of my vision, obviously, if you're going to get bigger than Doncaster, you need an airport. It's a no-brainer. Is the current airport and its plans, are they viable? I don't know, I've not seen the books, but the veneer is it's not. You're going to have to rethink this, put an all-new team together, bring in logistics experts who actually want to and could see the value of coming to Doncaster and moving freight onwards, and also getting an airliner interested to genuinely start taking some of the pressure off Manchester. But they're big conversations. I think it has to happen, but it will not happen under the current group. And as for the Sheffield Mayor who I stood against, he's big into his student politics, he's big into the Labour Party, he's been a Labour Party activist all his life. I would never ask him truthfully for business advice, especially when it comes to international logistics, because he would not have a clue. So we will come up with a better plan. I would present you the plan as this is viable. If we need money from the local area, I would say that's a red light, first of all, because if it's a good plan, nobody would offer you a share of it. They would just say every business would jump on it and take the shares up. But it would be my job to say, okay, we're not going to waste your money. It is a viable option. We have put a big team together of different carriers around the world. And so the stipulation would be Doncaster would own 10% of that airport, so we could bring revenue in and start taking some pressure off the council tax. But just if this is going to survive, get off the ground, because it needs public money first, I'll tell you now, international investors are not touching it because it's not pretty enough. Thank you.
And for the British Democrats, Frank Calladine.
Like I was saying earlier, the airport will probably stay open. And yes, I would back it, and I would work with, or try to work with colleagues in the Sheffield Mayoral and Doncaster Council. But the truth of the matter is, we cannot afford it to be a bottomless pit. I mean, how much money does people intend to throw at it? You can't just throw millions or billions into the bottomless pit. And why hasn't any private company come forward to run it? And why did Peel let it go? They've got to let it go for some reason, haven't they? And that is because it clearly wasn't viable. And the idea is we've got to make it viable. We've got to work together on this one. And that is all parties. Drop the party line and work together. Thank you.
And finally, from the Trade Unions and Socialist Coalition, Andy Hiles, please.
The short answer is yes and yes. Well, you know, I'm very open, very easy to sort of usually get along with, and can work with anyone. I've known many people in the Labour Party over the years. Was once a member of the Labour Party. They decided they didn't want me anymore for some reason. I've worked across, you know, I know a number of the candidates or MPs across the area, and I've worked with them in the past. So we will be to work with them. I sometimes think we get too tied up in the costs and the bottom line of this. I am a socialist. We do believe in nationalisation. And I do sometimes think that accountants know the price of everything and the value of nothing. It's something I've often said. And clearly some of the major public infrastructure, like airports, needs public funding. The value it would bring and the add-on value it would bring to business would well outstrip any investment that we made. So I'm fully behind it, the same as I'm fully behind a fully integrated transport system. You know, I'm hot-footing from here down to London. We need, you know, trains, buses that connect, and we need to be connected with the other areas with bus and rail. So a fully integrated, of which the airport is vital, is absolutely essential, not just for Doncaster, but for the development of Yorkshire. And I'm going to leave it there, because I overspoke last time, so I'll give you 30 seconds back.
There's a line somewhere in there about a trade union as being negotiable. I'm sure there is. Anyway, always open for negotiation. Thank you, sir. Right, okay, so that's it for the first part of the questions. As mentioned, we've asked delegates here today to select which candidates they would like most to hear from in our second part, and I will now invite the three candidates: Nick Fletcher for the Conservatives, Alexander Jones for Reform UK, and Ross Jones from the Labour Party to stay on stage. But if you'd like to give everybody a round of applause, please, while the other candidates can And have we got time for, does anybody want to use the conveniences that are just through the door if you need them, just in case you wondered? Right, okay, I'm aware that we're got a schedule to keep to, so I'm going to crack on with these questions now. First of all, I want to highlight Sanjeev Goog from PSG Investments. Where is he? Is he actually in the audience? Oh, there you are. You've got a question for the audience, I believe. Sorry, for the candidates. You want me to?
Yeah, well, I'm interested in what the question is.
Right, okay. I have one down here that you have. That's okay, no worries.
I can ask questions.
That's fine. That's okay, yeah. No, if you've got a question, feel free. But no, I can do another one, that's fine. Right, what I will do is go to Kyle from Premier Ground Solutions. And his question is this for you three candidates, please. As the owner of Premier Ground Solutions, a veteran-led and operated grounds maintenance company in Doncaster, he says, I'm interested in your plans for strengthening the town's armed forces covenant. What specific initiatives would you implement to create more opportunities for veteran-owned businesses and improve employment pathways for former service personnel in our community? And I'll address that question first to Nick Fletcher, please.
Hi, Kyle, and thank you for your question. I think what our armed forces do is often not fully appreciated. I think to put yourself in the firing line, literally in the firing line, is something that's hugely courageous. And when our armed forces personnel have moved on from that career, then I think we should do all we can to look after them. One of my first cases as a Member of Parliament was a young man called Danny who had left the forces, and unfortunately believe he made some bad investments with his money and got himself into an awful lot of debt and sadly took his own life. So that was one of the reasons that why I did try and concentrate quite a lot of my time on men and boys issues. And obviously with the armed forces, 88% of the personnel are men. So I think when young people, men and women, have decided to that career to look after us, then the best thing that we can do is when they come out of the forces, is make sure that there's something there for them. And I think those first few months when they come out of the forces is when it is critical. So I will do all I can to work with the armed forces to make sure that we do capture these people straight away. We put them on the right path. We give them the training that they need, the resources that they need, so that they can go out there, maybe work for you guys, maybe set up their own businesses. But we need to do all we can to make sure that they've got a future because of the work that they've done. So I'll do all I can to do that. Thank you.
And the same question for Ross Jones for Labour, please.
Thank you for your question, Carl. As you know, I actually introduced the Armed Forces Veterans Gold Award because I got our people behind to ensure employment was there, housing was made available for people, not only the people working in the armed forces, but their families also. And I would be delighted to talk with you and see what we can do with businesses for veterans leaving the armed forces after the hustings. But we also actually acknowledge everyone wanting to start up their business. And we actually did an event the other week in the newly revived Corn Exchange, and it's about what we, with Business Doncaster, can deliver with you to get you as an entrepreneur on the road to going forward, and as importantly, supporting you through that. So it's large or small businesses, we work hand in glove. And the gold standard we achieved in 2016, and I've since retained, actually demonstrates we're there for the armed forces, the veterans, and the serving military who's coming out. So I'd be delighted to meet with you and work with Business Doncaster, the Chamber, to see how much more. But Business Doncaster will always be there for each and everyone wanting to start up as a business and grow it. We are there for you. Please actually get in touch, and I'll be delighted to talk it to after the hustings. Thank you.
And finally, for this question, Alexander Jones from Reform UK, please.
Well, firstly, thank you for your service. The Armed Forces Covenant is a positive one. I understand the rankings of gold, silver and bronze badging is a good way to showcase this for businesses who champion it. I believe there's a lot more that can be done here. A lot of businesses, especially smaller businesses, may not be aware of the covenant. So we would have a drive to ensure every business in Doncaster knows about this. We could list upcoming jobs on specialist recruitment boards dedicated to veterans and their spouses. Utilise the CTP connecting these businesses. The civil service is a great place to reap the skills of veterans. Perhaps having an ex-veteran on the interview panel may help transition. It isn't just assisting our veterans into work, it's having pipelines for progression and retaining them and their skills, which is also very important, and I would actively support this work for our great veterans.
Thank you for that. I'm just going to, we've got a load of questions to get through here, so I just wanted to say to all the candidates, it's like not to sort of any individual thing, but we're pushed for time, so I'm going to try and get through as many of these as we possibly can, because we want to get some closing remarks off all three of you as well. This is one question that's come in for all the candidates. It says, with the proposed cuts to adult education now taking effect, how will you ensure that Doncaster accesses this vital funding to support people into work and progress within their current roles? We'll start back with you, Nick, if we can, please.
Thank you. Part of my work as a Member of Parliament was running a role models programme. I'm a huge believer in apprenticeships. I think apprenticeships are the best thing for our young people. Earning while you're learning is great. I often say that many of the young apprentices that have worked for me, by the time they're 20, they've been to Ibiza twice, they've got a nice car and they've got a deposit for a house. A lot of young people coming out of university have just got £55,000 worth of debt. So I will continue as Mayor, if I win as Mayor, my role models programme, because I think that's hugely important. I think we need to engage all businesses within that. Apprentices, I've built my businesses on apprentices. I've employed scores of them over the years, and I've turned a lot of 16-year-olds into fantastic people for our community and for our city. So apprenticeships is definitely the way forward, and I will obviously work with the South Yorkshire Mayor, because he's in charge of the skills, and I'll work alongside Dan, because I know Dan from the Chamber has done a huge amount of work on that too. So apprenticeships, working with the people where the funding is, and progressing with the second UTC, which I believe is going opposite this one. Thank you.
And now the same question for Ross Jones, please.
We are already working on the skills. We believe in getting our young people the best chance possible, and I've got officers working on it daily. It's about driving forward, giving our children something to aspire to, and that's why jobs and growth are so important. That's why they want to see jobs at the airport, so important. That's why they want to see places like Hybrid Airport, so important. So it's about jobs, growth. Apprenticeships, we've got nearly 200 within the authority, and we work hand in glove again with the Chamber to get the information out there. We was part of the process going forward with the UTC. The second is going to become a crossroad on the land that the authority has actually designated, because we believe in giving our young people the best chance ever. And apprenticeships or university, and we need both, actually can deliver. And we want to retain those people once they've gained the qualification here in Doncaster. And that's why my vision is a vibrant, safe place where people want to come and live, work and enjoy. Thank you.
And same question again to Alexander Jones from Reform UK, please.
Well, I think apprenticeships are great. I've got a number of friends who have done them in IT, and they've got a lot of benefit out of it, and I can see why it's important to boost investment to roles such as that for people who necessarily haven't gone to university. It's also important to get young people to come back to Doncaster, because I know a lot of people will go study at university elsewhere and then they don't necessarily come back, and we need to bring young people back to Doncaster and bring the skills back that they've took from elsewhere, and then Doncaster will prosper. I believe, being a young man myself, I can hopefully get that message across to our youth, and that will boost the economy by investing in apprenticeships, universities, things like that, university education, at the college, and we can boost Doncaster better by bringing people back to the area, and more investment in apprenticeships, of course. Thank you.
And it's actually going to follow on, honestly. It's not how we planned it, but it's just the way these come. We've now got a question on skills, work and education. Layla Young, are you here? Yeah, lovely. Hi, Layla. You've got a question for the panel, please.
I do. Thank you. You've all just touched on it independently, but exactly what would you do to ensure Doncaster was, in the first instance, a retainer of its talent, and then an importer of talent, as opposed to the exporter it is today, where you speak to school leavers and they're going to Sheffield, Leeds, Manchester, London, Birmingham. What exactly are you going to do so that Doncaster businesses can have Doncaster talent?
Did you everybody hear that? So, well, the question is, what are the candidates going to do to ensure that Doncaster businesses get Doncaster talent? Is that right? Is that sort of a fair sum? Thank you. Right. Starting off with Nick Fletcher, please. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. One of the first things that I did when I became a Member of Parliament was write to Apple and Tesla and ask them to come to Doncaster to come and have a look at the sites that we've got available for them. And when the chap from Apple came along, I took him for some afternoon tea at Mount Pleasant. And I said to him, I bet you have this all the time, don't you? I bet you have lots of MPs asking you to come and visit their area. He says, no. He says, we don't. I said, well, how many have done it? He said, none. Not one single Member of Parliament had ever asked Apple, one of the biggest companies in the world, to come and invest in their borough. The same with Tesla. When I went and asked Tesla, and I met one of their representatives at Birmingham, has anybody asked you to come? No. No one's ever asked you to come. How on earth are we going to keep our young people here when we've had political representatives like that who never bothered to even ask? I mean, it is disgraceful. The people who've represented you over the last 50 years have taken the vote for granted. They've known that you will always vote Labour because my granddad will turn in a grave if I don't. So they take your vote and they go down to Westminster and they get the best careers for themselves. And unfortunately, your councillors and your mayor have been doing exactly the same thing. It's a disgrace, and it's your children, my children, that have got no future, and that's why they are leaving like they are in the droves. And we'll end up talking about adult social care later, I'm sure we will. One of the reasons why we spend so much here is because all the children have left. There's no children to help look after the families that are left here. And they sit there and they take your vote and they take it for granted. Well, it has to stop, and it has to stop now.
And the same question for Labour Party. Ross Jones, please.
We will always bring people that can actually deliver for Doncaster. We've had more MPs bring more shadow secretaries and then secretaries here to Doncaster. That's why the people voted them in. But more importantly, it's about what we do to bring education and retain them in Doncaster. And so we've got the University City. So it's not a building, but it's actually delivering education and university levels there. Apprenticeships also, we're out there and we will continue to recruit, and we will work alongside each and every one. This is not about messing about, it's about getting the right education for our children, giving them the inspiration, and more importantly, Just think, with all these new jobs and growth that we will be bringing, you will see such exciting things happening. You will see something happening at the waterfront where you're going to have a digital arena. You're seeing something in Gateway 1 that's actually going to deliver all the technology that you require. This is about getting the right things in that not only brings our young people back if they've gone away, they can get a degree here in Doncaster as it is, but apprenticeships also deliver. That's what we're about. And we will continue to bring people here to this borough to ensure that we get investment, growth and great places that we all want to see thrive. And each and every business, I would ask you to take on more apprenticeships as you can. Thank you.
And finally for this question, Alexander Jones from Reform UK, please.
If you want to keep the talent in Doncaster, we need to make it more attractive. And I mean, just looking at the town centre alone, 52% of people said they feel unsafe there. So I guess why would anyone want to stay? So we need to fix that. We need safer and more secure communities. We also need to invest in our infrastructure more to encourage people to stay, boost job skills and business with investment by cutting out the council waste that's currently going on. You know, you've got £450 million worth of debt in the Labour Council currently. So how can we reinvest when the money is being so terribly mismanaged at the moment? Essentially, I would say we need a faster, smarter and leaner council, so then we can invest in the right things, which will then boost the city and bring growth to the area of Doncaster. Because as a local lad, I think Doncaster is really great. I've grown it up here all my life, and I'm now standing to make a change because I'm frankly fed up of the two legacy parties. So that's my message to you, and that's why I want to make Doncaster great and bring all the skills and money and prosperity back to the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexander. Now, another question from delegates here today, from AJ from 24 IT Services. Good morning, sir. You well? Yeah. Very good. Okay, and a question for the panel. What do you feel that you can do to support growth and collaboration in the local small to medium business community? An SME question, and I'm particularly interested to hear for this one, working for an SME as I do myself. First of all, from the Conservatives, Nick Fletcher, what are you going to do for SMEs, please?
Been a small to medium enterprise for 30 years, and I said at the beginning, I know exactly what you're going through. I think we do need to help you. I don't think people realise how difficult it is running a small to medium enterprise. And although we have got a very good chamber, I think we need to do more as a chamber, more as a council, and we also need to work ourselves as directors of SMEs into trying to work with the people that want to help us. I found when I was a member of the chamber that the chamber do an awful lot of good work, but you've actually got to engage with it yourself. And it's like most things in life, the more that you put in, the more that you will get out. So I think meeting with businesses on a weekly basis, I met them all the time as a member of Parliament. In fact, I'm meeting quite a few over the next few weeks, just going to see them, listening to what they have got to say, listening to the issues that their specific industry is facing, and finding out what the council can do. It should be there to help. When the businesses thrive, the people thrive, and the people thrive, then Doncaster thrives. And that's what we need to do. Locally, I mean, in the town centre, one of the first things I'm going to do is put in free parking, because I think that will be a huge step forward in making the Doncaster town centre a lot busier again. And when we have people in there, when we have lots of people in the town centre, the people are the police themselves. Lots of things happen on empty, derelict streets. When you've got lots and lots of people in those town centres, you see, at least it dilutes an awful lot of the things that we don't like to see. So that's what we'll do. The town centre's super important, and so is the airport. The airport will obviously bring in and feed down to a lot of the small to medium enterprises, and that is what we need.
Thank you. And same for Ross Jones, please. What are you going to do for the SME community in Doncaster?
We are working hand in glove with our small and medium-sized companies. We have Business Doncaster that's there to help with setup, there to actually connect people to other businesses. And as you will see, we will be seeing something called Gateway One, which is about growing our business tech community right here in the town centre. And it will be actually growing. It will be a centre where people can take and grow their business. IT, iTech, we've got analytical techniques going in now and again. We've got more than 15, I believe, wanting or making noises about wanting to be in there now. It's about bringing you all together, actually being able to get knowledge from one another, grow that, and you will soon grow out of that. And we will always encourage you to grow your business and do it directly, giving you the support and grants where they are required, and that you are able to meet the criteria to grow those businesses, because IT really is the growing thing. So AI, IT, tech, these are the growing businesses that we want to encourage, and we're going to look to go forward as an AI hub, and that's working with all the different companies out there to deliver, because this is the future and we want to be at the cutting edge of delivery. And I believe collectively here in Doncaster, with the skills and the knowledge that we've got here in our great town, which people don't often shout about, we can help deliver that for each and every one. That's what I will do. Thank you.
And finally, Alexander Jones, Reform UK, please. What is your plan to support the small to medium business community?
I think small and medium businesses under Labour will not be able to thrive because they're socialists by trade. So you need someone who's really good with an entrepreneurial brain and mind to put businesses first. We need to cut the red tape and cut business rates. That's very, very important so businesses can thrive. We can also reduce car parking in the town centre so more people want to come there. And essentially it's just about growth and investment. But we can't do that while the current council is £450 million in debt, which is worth remembering. People seem to forget or don't know. And we're not going to get anywhere until that's addressed. We cut the waste, streamline things, and then we can really start to boost Doncaster. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexander. Now, I'm aware time is pressing on. We have had a load of questions in, but there are always going to be far too many for us to get through today. What I want to do before we close, because we want to be away, we set by 11:30, is I'm now going to give each candidate here to make some closing remarks. They're going to get 3 minutes each, so they are going to get timed on this. And it's just an opportunity for them to reiterate their position and their support for local business in the area and the population of Doncaster. So we shall go in reverse order for the opening statements, which means we'll be starting first of all with you, Alexander Jones, from the Reform UK Party, please.
Like I said before, I'm a local lad and I want to see reform in the area. I'm now standing to fight against the two legacy parties who frankly, like in Doncaster, the council's in debt. We have 14 years of Tory austerity and probably the worst government I've ever seen growing up. So I believe we need reform in Doncaster, and then Doncaster can be the spearhead to get Reform UK in power on a national level, and I believe that will make Doncaster, well, the UK much better, because the two legacy parties, like I say, have not provided anything for me in Doncaster, and on a wider level I can see in the communities people are fed up, quite frankly, and it's not just two options anymore, there is a third option and a better option. Thank you.
And a closing statement from Ros Jones, please, for Labour.
Thank you. Thank you. For every day, it's a Doncaster day for me. It's about delivering for Doncaster. It's about delivery, delivery, delivery. I inherited an authority that was dysfunctional. I've turned it around. We had a children's service that was taken out of authority control. We've now got it back, and it's actually good. It's about working with our businesses to deliver for the town and helping them grow. We are about delivery, and therefore what I'm saying to you now is this. Back me. I will ensure that we get our airport open. Help us get our other areas open. We want hybrid air vehicles to producing, giving more manufacturing, jobs to our people that need, getting other things coming forward like DN1, which is about artificial intelligence. We can grow that. Collectively, we will grow it together. But we also want a city that people are proud of. People are proud of to live in, work in, and actually enjoy their time there. And therefore, I have actually invested in more people on the streets to make people feel safer. I have invested in more CCTV, and what we will do is work hand in glove with the police, and I'm also making a contribution to get people and the police on there. I'm working with the town centre, delivering for our town centres, and what you will see is actually people coming back, feeling safer, but it's about business as well. We want to see businesses coming to Doncaster. They wanting to come and see a town centre that's thriving. We've got that. Look what we've achieved, the wool market. We've just actually renovated other parts, and we will be actually putting more money into our markets again. Markets is one area, but it's also a growth area. Let's be honest, the towns and shopping habits are changing. People are doing more online than ever before, and therefore we've got to be adaptable and change our town centre, because it is our town centre. We want our children to start, we want them to enjoy, we want every generation to enjoy. And I'll just give you a lesson in finance. We're hearing about, oh, there's all this debt. Do you know, there's another side of the balance sheet. As an accountant, I can tell you, that other side is the assets that we own as well. We need to develop houses and that, and that's why you have debt and asset. That is free of charge, by the way, free of charge. But more important, stick with us. Let's get it over the line and deliver for our people, with our people, and actually show we care about them. Thank you.
And final closing statement from Nick Fletcher for the Conservatives, please.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming today and listening to the candidates speak. It's so important. There's a clear choice. We can either have more of the same, closing airports, city centres where women don't feel safe, decimated markets, closing railway colleges, streets in Edmonton, a mining village that this mayor is so proud of, being classed as the worst street in the country. A street in Doncaster town centre that has got the second worst rate in the north for violence and sexual violence. This is the legacy of 12 years of this Labour mayor. This is the legacy of 50 years of Labour in Doncaster, and we've had enough. Things need to change. Now, I was disappointed that we were not allowed to bring any literature today. I think this is the first time a proper manifesto has been put forward. The Reform Party's manifesto for the country is 28 pages. My manifesto for Doncaster is 30, and it's here, in print, delivered to thousands of businesses across Doncaster. There is nobody who cares more about Doncaster and its future than me. I've lived here for 52 years. I've worked in the city for 30 years. I've been a member of Parliament for 5 years. I've been in the biggest bear pit in the country, and I've taken them on. Now you need somebody who's going to do that. Somebody who's going to work with business, somebody who's going to deal with the socialist attitude, somebody who's going to deal with 14 Labour MPs in South Yorkshire, a Labour combined authority, and a Labour government that's making everybody's life in this country an absolute misery. You need a mayor who's got 120 colleagues down in Westminster to fight for you, not a party which has got 4. You need an opposition. You need a serious opposition. And I know I can do it for you. I want to do it for you. I want to make Doncaster safe again. And I want to make Doncaster great again. I was brought up on a saying of I can and I will. And with your help, I can and I will make Doncaster great again. Thank you.
And thank you to our 3 candidates. That's about all the time we have for, but I'd just like to pass you back to Dan Fell for some closing statements and a vote of thanks, please.
Thank you very much, Bruce. So just a few closing remarks from my side. Firstly, big thank you to all the candidates for joining us today, giving up their time to engage with the business community. So to Alexander, to Andy, to Doug, to David, to Frank, Nick and Ross, thank you very much for joining us. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you to colleagues in the audience for joining us, and thank you, no one says thank you to business very often, but thank you for all you do for our economy, for our communities. It is valued, it's massively important. I'm really sorry I couldn't get to every question today, but if I could just seek agreement from the colleagues on the panel, there's questions that we didn't get a chance to get to today. If they can be submitted through us to your offices, we'll be happy to respond to them in some format. That's much appreciated and very good of you. Thank you. Thank you to my colleagues for putting the event on and the work that you do, facilitating things like this. I know they're a bit out of the comfort zone, a bit harder than some of our events, so appreciate those hard yards. Although, Rebecca, I am taking that time's up sign off you before the event closes. This year, coming in, lots of you are team meetings at our chair, so you are having that conversation before you leave. And then sort of 2 final things. We've heard a lot about a range of issues, whether it's airport, whether it's veterans, apprenticeships today. There'll be working earnest from political leadership on the 2nd of May, no doubt, whether that is. Your chamber is committed to working on all of those issues all the time, so we won't wait until we get to May. We'll roll our sleeves up and crack on as we always do on those issues on your behalf. And then finally, I just want to kind of say it feels really fitting that we're hosting this event at the UTC today. And Helen, thank you to you and your teams for hosting, as you always do a great job for us, because this place only exists because of partnership working. It was business with educational leadership, with local authority crowding in. And it just shows what we can do when we all work together, and I think that's just a great way to end this event. And whoever wins and is mayor on the 2nd of May, you know you'll have a business community that wants to partner and get things done. Thank you all. Take care. He stood by me for that. We give a massive round of applause.